Welcome to the show. Now, please strap in for the truth and remember the words of the great Tom Cruise.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Now, welcome to Off Topic on Point.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for yet another episode of Off Topic on Point. I am one of your hosts. I'm Rob, and I'm joined by my co-host Russell. Russell, how's it going?
It's going good, Rob. Thank you.
Back for another episode. How's everything been going this week for you? Are you good?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Well, it's interesting you should ask. I feel like last time we talked about the Texas floods, and this week,
Yeah.
where I live has been on the national news because we've had a week full of we've had 4 days worth of flash flood warnings. So we have been our little town is basically getting I don't know, somebody's not living right. I don't know what's going on. They seeded the clouds too much or whatever. So we've been inundated with
That's incredible.
flash
Did they
floods.
they didn't come up from the Rio Grande Valley here, did they?
No, no, I think what happens, and my wife is a weather bug, there's evidently some kind of high pressure wedge. Okay. Now don't give me, please don't, where I understand computers and I'm good with technology, my wife is amazing. Okay. With,
Okay.
with weather. She likes weather. So she tried to explain it to me. And let me tell you what I at least got from it. There's a high pressure wedge. Okay. And so
Okay.
what happens in the wedge is, that, she's told me that what is going on is it's basically creating a wedge that's driving all this rain our way. So it's pushing it's pulling up all the moisture and then driving it right over to where, to the mountains. And so we're getting all of
Oh,
the rain. And what's really weird, so there's just different stories of weirdness. So one of my sons is a lifeguard, and so he said that
mhm.
at the pool where he's a lifeguard, it's at the rec center, at the community pool and everything. In in the outdoor pool where he was sitting, it was not raining, okay, but right across the street in the parking lot, it was a torrential downpour. So you could
Ah,
look across the street and see just rain, 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 rain.
that's wild.
And right there where he was sitting in the pool, there was no rain. So I mean, in our backyard, I mean, just it was like a river running down through our backyard. I mean, there's been the rivers have been overflowing their banks. There's rocks. I mean, just so many things. There's been river rescues, just so many different things that, again, the town is. I mean, they understand it. They're kind of set for it and they get it. But it's just one of those things where you just, I mean, man, you're just not ready for it if um, you're not used to it in the summer. I mean, you feel like in the winter, that's when it rains. But this year, summer has just come. I mean, it's just been wet. So it's
Yeah.
just been one of those things, and we've been trying to, we've been really, really trying to, I don't know, Russell. We've been trying to get. I mean, um, I bake. I make sourdough bread. We make homemade sourdough bread. We don't even go down the bread
Right.
aisle anymore at our house. You know what I'm saying? Because if it can be made with sourdough, we make it. I mean, all just not just bread, but like when you guys come, we'll make a pound cake, or we'll make naan bread. We'll make our own hot dog buns, hamburger buns,
Right.
all that stuff. Well, the oven that we had, we needed to get a new one. So my wife's never really had. We've lived in apartments most of our life, and even when we got the house, it had its own appliances, and so she's never got to pick out her own appliances. And so
Right.
I was like, you know what, pick out your own appliances, get what you want. So I was like, go ahead. So she picked out her own appliances, and so I have never in my life had more problems getting an appliance ever. So we got it with Lowe's, right? Now this is all while the rain. I mean, the rain has come and gone and come and gone and come and gone. I mean, it's just we're so we're doing this, in between, rainstorms. Okay. So the first one they call when they're supposed to deliver, like, hey, we're not even going to deliver your oven because it's damaged. And I'm like, well, okay, thank you for that. Then the second one comes And they're like, well, it's dented right here by the display. Are you okay with that? I'm like, well, as long as it works, and then can I get a discount? And they're like, yeah, sure. So they plug it in, and when they plug it in, only the stovetop works. And I'm like, well, that's not going to help me if the oven doesn't work. And the other oven that we had worked, And so, and I got to tell you another story about low.
Is this Rob's rant?
This is kind of a rant. This is more of a story
This
because
sounds like one of the options you read off to me
it, it does. It
last
is. Well, there's another
podcast.
part of that rant, and I'm actually just going to go ahead and
Okay.
tell you that. So we'll take this one off the Rob's rant because it's not really a rant, but there is a portion, and in fact, I'll get into that because when they did the second delivery, okay, they were going to take our stove, and so this is the part that's kind of a little bit of a rant because I was like, this is a little bit ridiculous, but the whole story itself is, but this goes with the rain and everything that we having to deal with, and it's just crazy and all that other stuff. But so when I did this, get this, so they're getting ready to take our stove, and they took our old stove out and put it in our driveway while they're trying to bring the one that's dented in, right?
Right.
And my wife calls me and says, hey, we have a friend next door, and he called and said, hey, are you getting rid of your stove? And we said, yeah. And he said, well, can my daughter come pick it up? She uses it she does stuff with scrap metal. And we said, sure. So I said to the guys that are delivering it, I said, hey, and they knew that the stove worked because it was working when they took it out. It was just old and it wasn't working as well as we wanted, and it didn't match, yada, yada. So they took the stove out. And I said, hey, you guys, I need you to mark off the takeaway. We don't need you to take it away anymore because somebody is going to come and come and pick it up. And then they're going to take it and they're going to use it for scrap metal, and that's fine. So you don't have to take it away. So the guy looks at me, Russell. This is where I was like, oh, okay. So the guy looks at me and goes, oh, so you don't want us to take it away anymore? And I said, no, I don't want you to take it away. We have somebody come in to get it. He goes, oh, well, if I take the fee off, can we still take it? And I said, why do you want to take it if I don't understand? He goes, well, I need a stove at my house. Russell, he was going to if I had not,
That's great.
if my wife had not called and said they were going to charge me $50 so this guy could have a stove, my stove that worked. I mean, I don't really care if you want the stove. Let's be clear. Don't mind paying it forward. Could have had the stove for free. I don't care. Here's what I would have liked. How about if we just come to an agreement where you don't charge me $50 so you can have my stove?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
Why
so
don't you pay the $50?
there you go.
Is
So
the stove not worth it?
I was like a little dastardly there, a little, So I was like, anyway, that I still gave him the stove. Okay. I just got him to waive the $50, the takeaway fee, but I thought that should have I didn't think would have had to say anything about that. Then so they get the new stove in. The new stove doesn't work. I plug it in. Okay.
Yeah.
And
everything happens to Rob.
Well, yeah. I mean, so we plug it in, right? So then what happens is the stove top, okay, the eyes, they work, but the oven does not. Well, that's not going to work. Then he asked me one of the greatest questions ever. Looks at me and says, what do you want to do? I guess you could leave it there and make an awesome paperweight, I guess. Get it out. I'm not taking it if it doesn't work. So he gets it out, and we call Lowe's. I'm like, I need another stove tomorrow. Okay. So they bring another one out. And I was like, and it has to work. Please understand. We have to, we're without a stove now because I'm letting this guy have a stove, So they bring another one out. This one is actually in pristine condition. Okay. Or no, excuse me. This one is not. This is the third one. Okay. This is the third stove. So they bring the stove, and the guys say, hey, can you come out here for a second? So I come out there. The drawer that's on the bottom, you put your pans, is so jacked up it won't even close. So I'm like, no, just don't even get it off. Just take it away, right? So then I have to call Lowe's, and I'm like, or the delivery, because it's a third-party delivery company, whatever. Yeah. And they're like, well, we'll have because you've had 3 attempts at this, it's being escalated. So I think, oh, cool, we're finally going to get a manager. We're going to get some resolution on this. Well, so we're at a swim meet on Saturday. Remember, it's been since Thursday that we do not have a stove. Okay. Saturday, I'm calling because I'm thinking, okay, Monday they're going to come out, right? I call, and the manager and so the manager calls me when we're coming home from a swim meet. The boys had a swim meet, right? And we're driving home and they're like, hey, so yeah, we want to help you out, but here's the problem. You've returned 3 stoves, so the system won't allow me to send out a fourth one. You're going to have to go back to your Lowe's and you're going to have to get a refund, and then you're going to have to reorder the stove because evidently it's my fault that they can't deliver a stove that's not damaged or that doesn't work.
Right, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, Jessica and I, we are livid at this point. Like, well,
Mhm.
Jessica is much more calm than I. My wife is a wonderful lady, very calm, but still, she's not happy. But so then Sunday we go to Lowe's and they're gonna deliver it Monday. They waive all sorts of fees because they're like trying to be helpful, which is nice. And then so the guys come out and they bring a stove. It's perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay. It looks nice. It's fine. So they plug it in, and you guess what?
Doesn't work.
Stove top works, the oven
Okay.
does not. Again, both guys who had delivered those, it was different teams, okay, where this had happened, had both said there might be a problem with the plug. I kept thinking it can't be because our other stove worked. I was like, leave it. I'm going to call because I don't want to keep bringing things out and have it be the plug. I'm like, let me just do this. So I call an electrician. Takes them 3 days to get out there. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. So again, the rain is causing all these issues where you can't get people out. It's causing backup of work, all this other stuff. And they finally come out and they look and they're like, when was the house built and what? And so they figure out evidently the guy who owned the house before we did decided he was going to play electrician and he was going to update the house. Okay. For those of you who are watching an audio, I'm using extremely big air quotes here. Okay. So he's going to update the house and he's updated again, air quotes for all of our friends and, update the house. All right. And what he's done is he's turned a 3-prong into a 4-prong and we've lost the neutral. So we've been using an oven without a neutral. And they're like, this is not good. They're like, what do you want us to do? I said, I would like you to fix it because let me be clear. I would not like my house to burn down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the grace of God, it hasn't burned down so far. And so they spent time, they did a great job. No problems with them. Kudos to them. And, they're dealing with 240 volts. So I was like, but so they had to redo it, but then they had to redo some stuff to make it work on the back of the oven. So they had to create some things and do some things that, and they're licensed fully electricians. So it wasn't like they
Yeah.
were like, MacGyvering it. They're like, no, this has to do this and we're going to create this. It's a jump and it did, so then finally the oven works. So the oven's now working, we're baking, we're doing all that stuff. But that is the most, I mean, wow. You would think it took these people 4 tries to get an oven out here that wasn't damaged. Now,
I know.
the working, I mean, and then we're going to be, it's my fault because they're like, well, you've had too many returns. First of all, one of them I never saw because the guy didn't call. And I was like,
Right.
this is ridiculous, So again, it goes back to another, rant that we had, is excellence is really, really hard to find. Excellence is really, really hard to find. Now, these electricians were excellent. They did a great job. Kudos to them. I had no problem stroking the check to them because they came in, they weren't there very long, but they were what they did with excellence. And that bill to me, I was happy to pay because to me, I've always been that way. If somebody does something with excellence, you should pay people what they're owed anyway. But when they do it with excellence, I really just don't have a problem, with that. But that's the saga of the oven because we've had just so many like just we went without an oven and a stove for just so long. Well, so long. Those are first world problems, right? That's what my dad always tells me. He goes, "So you're having first world problems?" I say, because how many nations, how many people don't have a oven or a stove? You know what I'm saying? So, but and then with all the rain and not being able to go outside and use the grill or whatever, it's been interesting how we've had to cook in air fryers and toasters and all that other stuff. So, or just go out and grab something. So it's been an interesting been an interesting last week
Sounds like it. My
at the
goodness.
house. So that's where we are, and that's what's been going on at our house, and amongst other things with the scheduling that's been going on with the boys and stuff like that. So it's been quite the week, quite a whole ordeal. So
Yeah,
Anyway,
sounds like it, brother.
so what's been
Wow.
going on in your world? I mean, so what's going on in your world?
Well, I mean, nothing like that. Uh, we're we have actually had the rain subside here. We're in a at a point right now where every now and then we'll get a small shower, maybe in some little part of the city. And for the most part, like today, it was just very clear today. Very a few clouds here and there, but just sunshiny. And it looks like we've kind of cleared the hurdle with regard to that. I will tell you, I'm going to be heading up in your direction here in a
Yeah.
matter of days. I would really appreciate it if y'all would clear all that rain out before I get there. It already rains up there enough when I am in that part of the country anyway. I don't
Yeah.
need extra, especially not after what's happened here.
I know. Yeah, no, it's a lot extra. It's hard for the boys to mow the grass. I mean, Russell, because there's just been so much. It's just, it'll start out uh
Yeah,
sunny, and then by the time about it's time, hey, the grass is dry. There's no way to even mow the grass. It's because all of a sudden you'll get a and it's not just a shower. It's like the clouds open up. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
And it just, I mean, it is just a deluge, or as my wife is fond of saying, because I guess it's a actual weather term, I guess, a gully washer. So that's been a new term that I've learned
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah. Oh, you
Get
hadn't
up.
heard that one before?
I've heard it, but I just didn't know it was. I thought it was just some kind of a mountain, backwoods kind of term, gully washer. I didn't know it was an actual weather term. So, but evidently, from what I'm
Oh,
knowing
that
now,
I didn't know either. I thought that
it's
was
a
a hillbilly
yeah,
term or
a
something.
hillbilly term. Evidently, it's actually a
A
weather term,
gully washer.
a gully washer.
A
So
gully washer.
yeah, look that one up. So, but
Wow.
anyway,
Well,
yeah.
I
So
learned something new too.
yeah, absolutely. So, and in other news, we got a couple pieces of merchandise that we'll probably be showing as we get video ready. Video's probably coming pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. Um, so we've gotten the off topic on point t-shirts. Um, so
Yeah, I've seen
so
your
yeah, so
somebody on this podcast is wearing one right now.
they're really comfortable. They're nice. Yeah, in fact, I wore it at the swim meet today when people were looking at it, so it was interesting.
Yeah. So is
So
that going to eventually be merch available, you think?
you know what? We can definitely look at that. So if,
Yeah.
let us know in the comment section if you would like off topic on point merch, and we'll see if we
They're
can make it
probably going to
available.
want to see it.
They probably will, and
But
we'll make it available
it
for
looks a whole lot like what you see on, that
it's the
on
logo,
topic
yeah,
on point logo
and
that
it's
you
on
stare at the whole time you're listening to us right now.
exactly.
That's
It's
it
on a
looks a
shirt.
lot like that.
Yeah, it looks just like that on a shirt, except it's the background is clear. It's not that blue background. We clear the background and put it on a gray shirt. So there's that. But it's
Yes.
been it's been a real interesting it's been a real interesting few kind of weeks. But it's yes, I tell you what, it's trying to deal with this rain has just I feel like it's just kind of going from place to place to place. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know the Lord said he'd never, destroy the world by flood again, but I feel like some places are getting, you know, hit and just, washed away, um but we'll see what happens, um so
Okay.
and
But
it
I mean, on the home front here,
yeah,
um, I mean, I gave the report that I gave the last time. It
yep,
has subsided a lot here, and so we're it's all quiet on the
good,
south central Texas front right now.
cool. So, well, that's good. I'm glad that that's good. So, hey, and I got some interesting news. I don't know if you've read anything about the new Superman. Have you read anything about the new Superman movie?
Yeah, I heard a lot about it. Oh, it was going to be really woke. It was going to
Yeah,
be really left. And then when it actually came out, I've heard guys, even ones that I watch and listen to
yeah.
online, that said, "What? Nope, it really wasn't anything
That's
like
that's
that."
exactly what I heard myself. I had a
And
buddy who I
apparently, what
trust.
the producer himself or
Yeah,
producer director himself
yeah,
was a purveyor of some of this
Yeah, he was.
information that
Yeah.
I guess he was thinking maybe that would get more people in. When are people going to learn that that ship has sailed
I don't
and
know.
sunk,
Well, and
and people are not looking for that now?
I know, and I was really hoping that they weren't going to, because there's this whole idea that this is going to launch the new franchise for
Yeah,
DC, and I really hope. I mean, Superman's the cornerstone. You have to get it right. So a friend
yeah,
of mine who I trust, who really knows a lot about comic books, knows a lot about that stuff, and who I trust his opinion, um, he watched it and he was talking to me the other night, and he said it's nothing. There's no wokeness. He said if getting Superman right is woke and not the essence of Superman that we all know and love about Superman. He said then it's woke, but he goes it doesn't have any of that stuff in it. It just they get Superman. They finally did a Superman movie where they really get it right.
yes.
And he said it doesn't have any of that agenda stuff in it. So I'm actually thinking about going and seeing um probably going and seeing the Superman movie. So if I see it, I'll tell you what I'll tell you what I think about it, or when I
Okay.
see it. Because if I don't get to see it in the theaters, I'll just grab it on Amazon Prime or from rent it from Apple or whatever it is. So, and I'm still waiting. By the way, I was really upset. I'm still waiting to see um, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the final movie, because I really like those movies. So
Yeah,
I saw
they were. Remember, I think you and I went and saw one together,
we did.
and
So
that
yeah,
was a blast.
it was.
I
So
wouldn't have
yeah,
gone to see it had you not drug me along, so to speak. You didn't
I
really.
know, yeah, but
Yeah,
no.
that was several years back
It
too.
was. So this is the final one, and I watched Dead Reckoning, and this is the final reckoning, and so I really wanted to see it. So I'm now really waiting and anticipatorially to see,
Yeah,
because I've heard it was really good from people who know what kind of movies I like and everything else. I heard it was really good. And a fun fact, evidently in making this movie, which you and I are not huge fans of Tom Cruise. It's not like we love him or anything, but evidently he broke a Guinness Book of World Records record for the most
yeah.
jumps with the parachute on fire.
Wow,
Yeah. So
that's saying something.
because he does his own stunts. So
Yeah, I know, and that's respect to him for that,
yeah, yep, yes,
for sure.
exactly. So anyway, I mean, so there's some things now for you, just with the circles that you run in, and sometimes with you know taking people to movies. Did you ever see the How to Train Your Dragons movies?
Yeah, I saw one of them, I think,
The
fairly
new,
recently, actually.
yeah, did you see the new live action?
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
so the new live action, we went and saw it. My family has always loved How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah,
Um, and we've seen all of them. We've even seen the TV shows. And so this one that they just did was really good. Like it was fantastic. The only complaint that we had, and it's minor, is we just there's a set of twins in there, and they're so funny in the cartoon and the animated stuff. And we just didn't feel like they did them quite the justice that they needed to be done, but nothing that would detract from the movie. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
yeah.
just minor stuff, but it was really well done. My oldest son, I think, had the comment of the night when he did it, when the movie was over. He said, "Now that's how you do a live action movie. That's what happens when you don't let Disney do it. It comes off really well." So
He's not wrong.
he's not wrong. So I thought that was a really good comment though, because again, How to Train Your Dragon's obviously not Disney, but he says, in with all the Disney remakes that are flopping, I thought it was a really good comment when he said, this is how you make a move. This is what happens when you don't let Disney uh have any hand in it. It comes off really well. So um but anyway, so that's just kind of some of the entertainment stuff that's been going on for us. We've been um just trying to we don't get to see movies a lot, but every once in a while we go through a spurt where we'll get to go see a few when our schedules slow down. But we're just so busy, man. I mean, it's crazy just trying with life to, how life is, you know what I'm saying? Just so
Yeah,
busy to do. So how you know what I mean?
yeah,
Your schedule's as hectic as mine is, and so it's crazy. And this summer has just been crazy for us. So it's anytime we can try to catch some family time, watch a movie or something like that. We just like to make sure it's a good one, and sometimes that's
Yeah.
a hard thing to do.
Yeah, of course, that makes very good sense.
Yeah, so I need tell you what though, it seems like it's getting harder and harder to find good. And when I say good, I just mean even an original idea.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything's a remake, a reboot, whatever. And I'm just kind of like, you know what? Seriously, just have an idea. And I know there's nothing new under the sun, but just have an idea of something. Let's just not reboot something,
Yeah.
remake something, please. Have an original idea. If you don't, type, just get with Chat GPT and it'll help you, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because I know Hollywood, I saw an article the other day, and actors and directors and writers are going, AI is going to take away our jobs. No, you're going to take away your jobs because you're not putting out anything original that, well, at least for me, that I want to see. You know what I'm saying? I mean, everything's a reboot, a sequel of, it's a bad sequel, by the way, or, it's a remake. We're remaking,
Yeah.
Cinderella. We're doing, because if you're out of ideas, then go use Chat GPT. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Just do something. Give me something that's not, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, I'm just getting tired of, um, I'm getting tired of the same formula. Oh, let's remake a movie. Oh, this was
Yeah,
out a
that
long time ago. Let's make it again.
I never really have cared for it. I
Yeah,
really I can tell those are done by the most part, or for the most part, by people that are much younger than me,
yeah,
who have no historical context.
yep,
Because someone like me, I see those remakes and it's just like it starts off being unimpressive.
yeah,
The concept starts off being unimpressive.
yeah.
Because unlike, doing something, a remake from a 1940s movie, and it
Right,
was redone in the 70s or 80s or something, which there's a stretch of decades. And
right.
also you're dealing with black and white versus color and things like that. So there's some good
Sure.
tangible reasons to do it. Now, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but my general observation here is now it's just doing it to do it, maybe to
Yeah,
remessage,
I don't
and then
know.
to to put um, CGI and other
Yeah,
technology in there. But what has happened is that the acting, I'm sorry,
yeah.
but the acting quality has gone down, and it is so noticeable.
Well, one of the ones, and I'll tell you one that really disappointed me and I was looking forward to, so I don't know if I'm going to see the newest one, is Tron.
Yeah, I haven't seen that remake. I saw the original one.
The original one was it felt like so far ahead of its time and such an
Yeah,
innovative
yeah,
concept. And I feel like with Tron, part of what I feel like is this: if you're gonna do things, hold true to the material. Don't. I mean, again, I know we want innovative. That's great, but at least hold true to some of the storyline to what's paved kind of the way. You know what I'm saying? And I just,
yes.
people are like, well, it's my story. Well, no, Tron isn't your story. If you want to make your own story, go get something else and call it, I don't know, whatever. Create some other name. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. You know what I mean? You call it McAfee. I don't care. Um, my,
Yeah.
or
Oh, the
Norton antivirus,
virus,
Positron,
yeah.
whatever,
Antivirus.
but but that has been my issue with a lot of this stuff is even when they go, okay, we're not really remaking Tron, we're going to now 20 years later, we're going to just almost reboot or make a sequel, reboot, whatever with Tron, and it's just not good.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did that with
Yeah.
the
I'm not
Terminator. They've
surprised.
done it with all these, and they're just this. The storyline is the storyline, and we're just like, well, no, we're going to come down here and make a new storyline. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's not what I don't know. I haven't seen it done really well. That was kind of like, you and I are Star Wars, and I think generationally it's different. But like, even I don't want to open a whole can of worms,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Star Wars, you know, episodes 4, 5, and 6 were just so amazing. You know what I'm saying? They were just
Yeah.
such an iconic thing. And then they did episodes 1, 2, and 3. And to your point, the acting just
Oh,
not
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
But the storyline was just not well thought through. And then when you get to, 7, 8, 9, it's,
Yeah.
and again, I go back to now Disney got a hold of it. The storytelling is, in my opinion, terrible, and there's so many holes. And now it's no longer about being a Skywalker. Now it's about being a Palpatine by the time you get to the end of it. It's just not well thought through. And I don't want to get into Star Wars and this, that, and the other because people are just like, I don't care about Star Wars. My point
Is
is
that what you're
just,
saying now?
oh, have you not seen the end of it? Oh, no. Okay. So if you ever go watch 7, 8, 9, okay,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
main character is the character is played by Daisy Ridley, okay? Rey.
Oh, yeah,
They
I
don't
saw
really,
them all. I've
yeah,
seen them
okay.
all.
So if you look at the end of it, she's not a Skywalker. She's a Palpatine. So now all of a sudden, it's not the Skywalker line that's important. She's the main character. She's a
Uh,
crossover, and Ben Solo's son, who is a Skywalker, or excuse me,
yeah,
I'm sorry, Han Solo's son is a Skywalker, and her fight, they're on opposite sides now. He's dark side, she's the light side. And there's this crux. Well, here's how they end the story to try to kind of bring it back around. She just says to somebody, "Oh, I'm a Skywalker," in the very end and buries the lightsabers. That doesn't make, she's a Palpatine. So
right,
it becomes
right.
about the Palpatines now instead of about the Skywalkers, which was this whole thing was about, that Anakin was supposed to balance the Force, not Palpatine's
And so
kid. It's
is
just
the
ridiculous.
is the final jury on this that the dark side of the force is something that is inheritable biologically, and the light side of the force,
No,
the
what
good
it is,
side, is also inheritable
it's not.
biologically. Because if that's the case, then explain Darth Vader.
Yeah, no, no. What it becomes is they just changed it because again, it's Disney, and Disney just messed it up. They're just
Yeah,
not good. So
yeah.
because it's not the
Disney,
inheriting, it's not the inheriting of it all that you inherit. It's basically you make a choice. But the problem is Skywalker was supposed to bring the Skywalkers. Okay, so
right,
Anakin was
right,
supposed to bring balance to the Force, and you could say through Luke, through Leia, through whoever. Well, here's the problem. Okay, so Luke, you go through and Luke did this, Luke that. Okay, but the problem is there's this other kid, Ray. They don't know where she's from. They don't know, and then they end up finding out
right.
Emperor Palpatine's her
I
grandfather.
saw the movies. You
So
don't
the
have to
problem
read.
is, no, no,
You don't have
I'm
to
just, yeah,
retell it.
no, I'm just, yeah, no, I'm just saying, it just, they just screwed up the whole story.
Yeah.
They made
Well,
it about her, and so it just becomes pointless.
the whole, and I'll tell you from my perspective, I was here, I was on the earth
Yeah,
watching TV on shows and stuff
yeah,
back in the 60s.
sure,
I was alive before Star Trek was a thing.
right,
And so one of the things that, and then I was, of course, around when it came out, but I really started watching it a lot in the early mid 70s in syndication, and it was hugely popular.
yeah,
One of them, I don't know where you landed on this, but, and maybe sometime we can do a show on this, but one of the things that I found very childish in a way that the people that were doing this did not understand is when Star Wars came out, which I was on top of that. I used to be like this science fiction junkie back in the
right,
70s, and so did my friends. So I knew from reading a very small Starlog magazine, it was just a blurb article, it was barely an eighth of a page, that there was this movie coming out that they were planning on releasing, that the director of THX 1138 was going to put this out, and none of us even knew who that was, George Lucas.
right,
And it was going to be a swashbuckling pirate type of movie, you know. And I thought, well, that sounds interesting, because I like pirate movies and
sure,
I like space movies. So I was looking forward to it. When Star Wars came out, the original one, um, people have to understand there really wasn't a plan for a trilogy. There wasn't a plan for three sets of trilogies.
right,
All that stuff morphed later to make money.
right.
Here's what I found ridiculous. When people started comparing Star Wars to Star Trek, they
Yeah,
were on two different tracks.
they're not the same thing.
And there's no rule out there that says that you have to be one or the other. That's the either
Sure,
or fallacy.
yeah,
I like them both. I'm going to like them
yeah.
both, and I'm not going to fall into
No, I love them.
either camp.
I
My
love them.
camp is both and.
Yeah, exactly. I love them both. Yeah. So no, I think, yeah, I think it'd be fun at some point, to kind of talk more through that. We don't have a lot of, we're probably gonna wind this one down here, but it might be fun to actually do just a kind of a walk through just of our opinions because everybody's got them.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got where they sit on the fence on. There's so many nuances of Star Wars and the different sets of the trilogies and Star Trek. Boy, it has its own sets of things. You know what I'm saying? But again,
Yeah.
it'd be fun to kind of walk through
I
that.
mean,
So
Star Trek is the one that introduced all of us to things like time warping.
sure,
Um, I mean, it really made it a household
yeah.
concept.
Well, also
Um,
a lot of the stuff you see in Star Trek, we're actually dealing with today. Tricorders, we now have
oh
handheld
yeah,
devices in our
yeah,
that we walk around with, looking at just like they did with the tricorders. The earpiece that Uhura wore, we all thought was ridiculous, and we'd never wear that. And everybody now is wearing AirPods or some
yeah.
form of
Well, I'll
ear
tell you,
device, and everything else.
and what'll be a fun little dive for you if you ever decide to do it is read up, look up online and read what some of those items that they used on Star Trek, the original
Yeah.
series, actually were made out of.
Oh yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
Yep.
Um, the well, I forgot what I was going to say here. Give me a second. You know how my brain works
Oh, I
or
do.
doesn't sometimes.
Sometimes depends.
Um, the things like you know time. It's not time warping. What is it when you go back?
Wormholes,
Time travel. So time
time
travel.
travel. Yeah.
The concept of time travel had already been done in science fiction literature and stuff like that, but they developed it to a point where we were understanding, wow, if you go back in time, you're actually there. Things that happened the first time through may not come out the same way. And they explored all of
Oh
that kind of
yeah.
stuff
They
on
explored the space-time
City on the
continuum.
Edge of Forever was one of the
Yeah.
prime episodes in the original series
Yeah.
that did that, but it wasn't the only thing, but it was one of the main ones. And then the next generation really expanded on all of that.
It
And so
really did. Yeah, and
so
not only that, they really explored that space-time continuum
yeah,
and things like that,
absolutely.
stuff like that, that really stuff that we see a lot of the comic books,
You know,
and
what 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 would it take to go to a neighboring galaxy?
right,
And that's where warp concepts
right, the
came.
warp
And that was
concepts,
already a concept that was on paper, but they
yeah.
brought it into the science fiction
And I
universe.
wonder,
So we learned this kind of stuff from them.
it would be fun to figure out, and I think if you go back in the Flash and into the comic books, I think comic books did it first, but they
Yeah, yeah,
explored
a
further
lot of it they did.
a lot of it, but further the multiverse. They took it another step
Oh,
with the
DC went way too far with that.
with the multiverse, but I think
Oh yeah,
with
it says, hey, we got a time contradiction here. Well, let's make another Earth in another universe, that
but
sort
I
of
think
thing. And so there's
but
Earth and
Star
Earth
Trek,
2 and Earth
but the
Prime
but
and
science fiction took it to a level where I think it tried to almost, I don't want to say make sense of it because it can't, but it just took it in a way, hey, what actually would happen?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Not that you could do it, but you know what I'm saying? Instead of just comic booking it with, let's run back, what if you actually were to, they would use a wormhole or they would use whatever. What if you actually went and changed this? What is the butterfly effect of all
yeah,
of those kind of
yeah.
things? So they took it in a little bit kind of a different.
You talking about where the butterfly flaps its wings and then you've got a
Yes, a
tsunami
tsunami,
happening
the other thing. Yeah, so and so
on
they talked
a
about the
week later
butterfly
on the other
effect.
side of the Earth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. They talked about the butterfly effect in time travel and all those other
right.
things, and so it's interesting. But yeah, so that might be a fun episode we can do. If you guys
Yeah, I
want us
think
to
we've
kind of do
touched
that,
on several here because
just
you know
yeah,
what we
just
can
tell
talk
us in
about
the
Star
comments.
Trek versus Star Wars versus other things.
Oh yeah, we
You
can.
know,
That would be
there's
fun.
Space 1999. Have you
Oh
ever
yeah.
watched that?
No, I don't think I've ever watched that one.
Yeah, that's all right. You haven't missed much. I'm sorry. It was more fascinating back in the 70s than it ended up being once the 1990s
Yeah, there's always.
got here, and then certainly the 2000s. But I'll tell you, it lacked in a lot of ways, not the least of which was background. I learned the value of background sounds
Oh yeah.
from that series because it just did not measure up along those lines like some of the other shows did. but for its time, it was okay.
There you
Uh,
go.
Lost in Space was one from the 60s that
Lost in Space.
very
Yeah,
popular.
actually, now I'll say this for Lost in Space. They did a new one on Netflix. They did a new series. They did a remake of Lost in Space, and I've seen the Lost in Space, the 1960s one, and I've seen this one. Um, they're different, totally, but I'm okay with the new one as well, as long as you watch it, and don't say, well, some of the characters are the same, some they're different, but it's different, but it's okay. I was okay with it. Now people might be like, oh, the purist, but I thought again, watched independently of each other, I thought they're okay, and you can appreciate each of them for what they are. So, but anyway, so yeah, we got some stuff we can discuss. That'll be fun.
Yes,
So,
I like
so,
it. I
so
like
anyway,
it.
well, as always for everyone, please like it, subscribe, comment. We'll try to make sure that we answer your comments and let us know where you fall on these topics and anything else you want us to talk about. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can comment, but you can also always email us at otopnow, NOW, @gmail.com. And remember, please always remember this. We like to say this a lot. You don't always have to stay on topic. You can always be off topic, but please always make sure you are on
On point.
point. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we will see you on the next episode. Have a great evening. See ya.
Good night.
Thank you for listening today to Off Topic On Point. We want to remind you of our email address if you'd like to contact us. It's otopnow@gmail.com. That's otopnow@gmail.com. And as always, we want to leave you with this. It's okay to be off topic. Just make sure you're always on point. All right. We'll catch you on the next episode. Bye-bye.